Encounter 1. The Forbidden Forest. In the small town of Ravenswood, nestled at the edge of a sprawling forest, ominous tales surrounded the ancient trees that stood like silent sentinels. Locals spoke of the Forbidden Forest, a place where the veil between the living and the supernatural was thin. Whispers echoed through the town, telling of mysterious disappearances and eerie sightings that plagued anyone brave enough to venture into the woods. A group of 5 friends, led by the adventurous and skeptical Sarah, decided to unravel the truth behind the legends. Armed with flashlights, camping gear, and a shared sense of curiosity, they embarked on their journey into the heart of the Forbidden Forest. The entrance was marked by gnarled trees adorned with strange symbols, warning all who entered. As they delved deeper, the atmosphere grew dense with an otherworldly energy. The air felt charged, and the wind carried faint whispers that seemed to mock their presence. The group encountered peculiar markings on the trees, symbols that seemed to writhe and move in the dim light of their flashlights. Despite their unease, they pressed on. The deeper they ventured, the more the forest seemed to resist their intrusion. The shadows played tricks on their eyes, and the path twisted and turned, disorienting them. Sarah, the leader of the group, began to feel a subtle change within herself. Doubt crept in as the forest whispered secrets only she could hear, secrets that clawed at the edges of her sanity. One by one, the friends began to succumb to the sinister forces that lurked in the shadows. Tim, the skeptic, was the first to vanish. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the trees, leaving the remaining members paralyzed with fear. The forest seemed to absorb him, leaving no trace behind. Panic set in as the group frantically searched for their missing friend. As the night wore on, the whispers intensified, exploiting the fears and insecurities of the remaining group members. Shadows twisted into grotesque forms, and the once familiar trees now seemed like distorted apparitions. Sarah, now the reluctant leader, grappled with the weight of responsibility and the growing suspicion that the forest was alive with malevolence. The group's descent into terror reached its climax when Sarah, unable to resist the haunting whispers any longer, succumbed to the forest's influence. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light as she disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind only the chilling laughter that echoed through the forbidden forest. Morning light revealed an empty clearing at the forest's edge. The town of Ravenswood remained blissfully ignorant of the horrors that unfolded within the depths of the forbidden forest. The legend persisted, warning all who heard it that some mysteries were best left unsolved, and some woods were best left unexplored. Encounter 2, the Haunting Lake. High in the mist-shrouded mountains, a secluded lake lay hidden, its waters reflecting the mysteries that whispered through the surrounding peaks. Locals warned of the lake's cursed nature, claiming that the spirits of those who had met a watery demise lingered, seeking solace or revenge. A group of friends, fearless and skeptical, decided to test the legend. The intrepid group consisted of Jake, the self-proclaimed daredevil, Emma, the level-headed analyst, and Mark, the jokester who scoffed at superstitions. They set up camp on the lake's shore, dismissing the eerie tales as folklore. Night fell, and the temperature plummeted. The air became thick with an unnatural chill, and an eerie mist rolled over the surface of the lake like ghostly fingers. As the campfire flickered, shadows danced on the water, taking on the forms of faces and figures that seemed to be submerged. Whispers carried on the chilling wind, telling tales of tragedy and loss. The group laughed nervously, attributing the phenomena to the mountain's mystique. But as the night deepened, the laughter faded. The mist thickened, and the whispers intensified. Faces in the shadows contorted with anguish, their hollow eyes fixated on the campers. Emma, the skeptic of the group, felt a cold hand caress her shoulder when no one was around. She dismissed it as a trick of her imagination, but the unease lingered. As the clock struck midnight, the lake erupted with ghostly apparitions. Figures clad in tattered clothing rose from the water, their mournful wails harmonizing with the howling wind. Panic seized the campers as the spirits approached, each one bearing the scars of a tragic end. The group scrambled to their feet, but the spirits moved with an ethereal swiftness, blocking every escape route. Mark, the skeptic, faced a specter that mirrored his own face, contorted in a final scream. The apparition reached out, and Mark felt an icy grip on his soul. With a bone-chilling cry, he vanished into the lake's depths, leaving behind only ripples in the dark water. Emma and Jake, now desperate to escape the lake's haunted embrace, ran along the shore, pursued by the relentless spirits. The campsite, once a haven, now felt like a purgatory of lost souls. As the first light of dawn broke, the spirits retreated, leaving the lake's surface undisturbed once more. Emma and Jake, shaken and traumatized, stumbled out of the mountains. Their faces were etched with the horror of that fateful night. The legend of the haunting lake had claimed another group of skeptics, leaving behind only whispers in the mountain breeze and a warning that some secrets are best left undisturbed. Encounter 3, the Abandoned Asylum in the Wilderness. Deep within the heart of a desolate wilderness, obscured by the overgrowth of twisted vines and towering trees, stood the remnants of an ominous structure, the Harrowbrook Asylum. Once a place of despair and torment, it now stood as a decaying testament to a dark and forgotten era. Stories of the asylum's haunting had spread throughout the region, warning the curious to steer clear of its forsaken halls. A group of urban explorers, drawn by the allure of the macabre, decided to unravel the mysteries concealed within the asylum's decaying walls. Leading the group was Alex, an adventurous photographer with a penchant for capturing the eerie beauty of forgotten places. Alongside Alex were Maya, the history enthusiast, Chris, the tech-savvy skeptic, and Lisa, the group's empathetic soul. As the explorers ventured into the labyrinthine corridors, the air became thick with an oppressive energy. The walls seemed to groan under the weight of untold stories, and the flickering lights cast distorted shadows that danced with malevolence. The asylum whispered in forgotten languages, its secrets clawing at the edges of the explorer's consciousness. Maya, captivated by the asylum's history, traced her fingers along the peeling wallpaper, each layer unveiling the tormented past of the institution. Chris, on the other hand, dismissed the tales as mere exaggerations, attributing the odd sounds to the building's natural decay. Unbeknownst to them, Lisa, the empath, felt a growing sense of dread as they delved deeper. As they explored the asylum's dilapidated wards, the group encountered remnants of a bygone era, rusty bed frames, shattered windows, and decaying furniture. Unexplained footsteps echoed through the empty halls, and ghostly whispers led them further into the heart of the asylum. The air grew colder, and an unseen force seemed to guide their every step. The climax of their descent into the asylum's abyss occurred in the former psychiatric ward, where the spirits of the tormented patients were said to linger. Shadows materialized into the tortured forms of the past, their hollow eyes locking onto the intruders. The explorers felt an invisible weight pressing down on them as the spirits manifested their pain and suffering. Lisa, sensitive to the emotions of others, was the first to succumb. Overwhelmed by the collective anguish, she collapsed to the floor, her screams harmonizing with the ghostly cries that resonated through the asylum. The remaining trio, panic-stricken, attempted to flee, but the asylum seemed to shift its layout, trapping them in a nightmarish maze. Chris, the skeptic, confronted a phantom that mirrored his disbelief. The apparition whispered forgotten truths and shattered illusions, driving Chris to the brink of insanity. With a final, desperate plea, he vanished into the shadows, leaving only an echo of disbelief in his wake. Alex and Maya, now alone and haunted by the tormented spirits, stumbled upon a forgotten room at the asylum's core. Within it, they discovered a collection of old patient records and a chilling revelation, a dark experiment conducted on the asylum's inmates that sought to harness the power of their tortured souls. As the truth unraveled, the asylum seemed to come alive with a malevolent energy. The walls pulsed with unseen forces, and the whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of despair. Determined to escape, Alex and Maya raced through the asylum's shifting corridors, pursued by the vengeful spirits. At the break of dawn, they emerged from the wilderness, the asylum's crumbling silhouette fading behind them. The once enthusiastic urban explorers now carried the weight of the asylum's secrets. The legends were no longer mere tales, They were etched into the survivors' souls, leaving scars that served as a chilling reminder that some places are best left abandoned, their secrets buried in the heart of the wilderness.